If you do this for 3 seconds, you will hit driver straight. I struggled for months on end slicing the golf ball, but after testing one simple adjustment, everything changed. And the crazy part, you ask? Well, it only took me one shot to see instant results. So if you are new to the channel, welcome. I'm Harry, a golf swing specialist, posting content like this every single week to help you lower your score. So consider clicking that subscribe button and especially turning that bell icon to all so you don't miss out on a single upload like this one. So let me take you back a couple of years ago where all of a sudden I started really suffering with this big horrible slice with driver. And no matter what I seemed to try, nothing seemed to work. I just couldn't simply get rid of it. Until one day, playing a links course, the strong gust of wind made me decide to play the ball from a little bit further back in my stance. In fact, directly from the middle of my stance with driver. It was literally a hit and hope situation with this, so I committed to the shot and I couldn't believe what I saw. This penetrating draw ball flight with the driver, hitting directly out the middle of the club face, hitting them further, but more importantly, a lot straighter. Now the question is, why should you trust this 3-second tip here from getting the ball position to move from what has been told so many times to be hit from the front of the stance all the way up to much closer to the middle of the stance? Well, it's all to do with how the golf swing arc works and the swing circle works in the golf swing. So what tends to happen is when we place the ball position further forward in the stance, well, the more forward we tend to go, the more we're likely to cut across the golf ball, to swing more left of the golf ball, being a right-handed player like this here. So as soon as we leave the club face ever so slightly open or hit it ever so slightly off center, we're going to see that big curve to the right, the nasty slice. Whereas if we were to move the ball position further back, what this allows us to do is to hit the ball earlier on the arc. And yes, you're probably thinking, well, we're going to probably hit down the golf ball then, but we're going to dive into that later on because I'm going to show you a couple of bonus tips to help you hit more up on the golf ball. But what this does here is it allows us to hit the ball earlier on the arc. So we're more likely to swing on the neutral path, if not favouring ever so slightly more into out. And that's why I saw incredible results as soon as I tried this, simply because of the way the swing arc works. Picture this here as your swing circle, swinging back and forth like so. We're just going to reduce that here and make it this hula hoop. Now this little mark here just represents the point just for this part where we make contact with the golf ball. So if I was just to move my driver out the way, kneel down, just to show you how this looks from this camera angle here, what you can see here is I've just got this onto a bit of a tilt here like we would have it on a golf swing. So this is where we've made contact with the golf ball. If we were to have the ball positioned directly in the front of the stands, favouring more the heel to the toe of the lead foot. Now you can see here from this face on camera angle, face on looking right down, is that that's going to encourage me here to swing very far to the left. Like I explained before, that's what's going to cause us to cut across the golf ball. So if we move the ball position further back, we're effectively allowing now our swing circle to neutral out at the golf ball. So therefore, we're going to be swinging on a more neutral plane. That, simply put, there is the key for this 3-second tip. And if you can get used to this, you're going to see some incredible results as well. So 1, 2, 3, and there you go. Penetrating ball flight straight as an arrow, and look at that. But the question is, for those of you who are just about to go ahead and try this, how do you trust this? How do you build this up into your golf swing? Is there anything else that you can do to help you get used to this new ball position? Well, there is, and that's what we're going to dive into next in the bonus tip. But just before we do, when you go and practice this on the golf course and you notice great results, hitting the golf ball much straighter, but struggling to lower those scores, I'd highly recommend downloading my course management guide, the ebook 2.0. It's full of great tips on there, course management tips that have took me years to learn and understand how to manage my way around the golf course, and not only to perform better, but to also score better as well. So I'll leave a link to that in the description below. So the first thing you're probably wondering with this new setup then is the trajectory. We're probably going to be hitting them lower. So how can we get that ball flight to go higher? And it's one thing in particular I would highly recommend you do. And it is to do with getting the club to work on the correct path. So as I mentioned before, to do with the swing circle, when we place the ball further this way, we're going to cut across it massively. As we bring the ball position further back and we try and do our normal swing, and therefore maybe swing a little bit over the top, maybe get a bit out to win, we're more likely to hit very much so down on the golf ball. So how can we simply change that movement? Well, in your setup, you are probably ever so slightly open with your hips, your knee alignments, and your shoulder alignments, because when we move further forward, it naturally makes our bodies want to open up. So when you move the ball position further back, I want you to simply work on getting those hips to close, getting those shoulders to close at the setup position. What that's going to automatically allow you to do is, rather than swinging this away from this open stance, it's going to allow you to swing more this away from this closed stance here. So you can just simply practice back and forth, getting everything here to close, and then just practice swinging up to the top and trying to come back down on that same plane. The plane that your new body alignment takes you on into the backswing, which will be ever so slightly more shallower, ever so slightly more round the body, maybe a little bit flatter, but that's going to help you then allow the correct path to take place, shallower motion, and therefore hit more up on the golf ball. You won't be able to hit the golf ball from this position if you're still thinking in your head, well, I've got to still do this action here to hit the golf ball well. Now, as well as that, if you do hit a golf shot, for example, try that and swing nice and slow. And you see that lower ball flight, how can you get that going higher? Two things I want you to try. The faster you swing, the easier it is to get the ball to fly up in the air. If the ball is going faster, if it's traveling faster, it's going to propel upwards as well. So there's one thing that you can practice, and that is speed. The second thing is that once you then work on that closure of the body, what you can also do from this position here as well is just allow your lead shoulder just to tilt ever so slightly upwards. I literally only did that ever so slightly by getting the feeling of my trail hand here onto my quad, and I'm just rolling it down until it hits my knee here. I'm not forcing my head to tilt back. I'm just bringing this down until my middle finger here touches the knee, and that gets me set up here with my shoulders on a little bit more of a tilt. That's going to make it easier for me to hit up on the golf ball and therefore get a better and higher trajectory. Now, I am not a fan of doing this excessive tilt here behind the golf ball, so just really be careful when you do this, because if you do that, you're more likely to hit the ground first, and we don't want that. What we want to do is just to give yourself the best possible chance of squaring up those golf shots, hitting straighter golf shots, and that is by having that 3-second tip, bringing the ball position ever so slightly further back. Recommend trying in the middle to see what you think. Then we're closing those shoulders, getting a little bit more tilt from this side. And there you go, higher trajectory, a little bit of that draw shape, and I think it's going to finish in the exact same spot as the previous shot. So once you've got used to this, how can you start to ramp up the speed maybe and hit the ball even further? Well, this video here over to the right hand side of your screen teaches you exactly how to do that. So I'd recommend giving that a watch next. Thanks for watching, and we'll hopefully see you over there.